Hamas accord that's been signed.
That's right. Those rival political groups announced that they had agreed to form a national unity government headed by the Palestinian president Mahmoud Abbas. So this puts an end to a 7-year rift, and as you can imagine, it's getting a lot of attention in the region. This is Gulf News that says that this unity government really offers hope. It's essential that the two factions come together to oppose Israel and its, quote, illegal occupation. So very clear anti-Israeli position here. It says that as long as there is division in the Palestinian family, Israel will thrive.
As you've been saying there, the press in Israel is paying close attention. They're not too happy.
They're not too happy, but there's a mixed bag of reactions. There's one article, for instance, in Haaretz that actually says that this Palestinian reconciliation is an opportunity for Israel. So quite a surprising position here. This article points out that the immediate reaction from the Israeli government was to see this unity deal as a threat. But this article says it's actually quite a hypocritical response because the Israeli government has long argued that Abbas doesn't actually represent all of the Palestinian people. And this article says that it's actually in Israel's interest to have a Palestinian leader who is strong and representative, because this makes a more reliable partner for Israel. So quite a surprising article there. But as you can imagine, a lot of the Israeli press is very much against this deal. Jerusalem Post, for instance, which is a more conservative paper, says, "Don't be fooled. This is a trick by the Palestinian leader, because you really have to keep in mind the timing and the context. This comes 1 week before the expiration of the April 29th deadline for those peace talks with Israel. And this is just a way for the Palestinian leader to put pressure on the U.S. and Israel."
OK, well, leaving that unity deal aside for a second, a lot of papers are talking about Tony Blair and a speech that he made yesterday.
That's right. He made a speech where he warned Western leaders that to put aside their differences with Russia over Ukraine and focus on the threat of Islamic extremism. Now, this speech gathered a storm of reaction, most of it very negative, and this article in The Guardian points out that it was mainly against the messenger, not so much the message. Now, a lot of critics say that Blair is actually partially responsible for the proliferation of radical Islam due to policies he carried out when he was prime minister. And then there's the whole putting differences aside with Russia thing. I pulled out a cartoon from The Independent where you can see Blair there begging Vladimir Putin for help to put out this radical Islam fire in the background. But there's a little trail there that comes to this canister of petrol that says Blair's legacy. So it points out that he's partially responsible for this. And then there's Putin there saying, "And you want me to help you put this out?" And in Putin's hand, you can see that he has his own secret plans for Ukraine.
Very slick cartoon there, Flo. All right, moving on. Papers are looking also at President Obama's visit to Asia.
That's right. There's a very interesting article in Slate that points out that Obama has finally made it to Asia, but the crisis in Ukraine is stealing the spotlight. Obama has been making plans to pivot American foreign policy away from the Middle East, away from Europe, and towards Asia. But this article says it seems as if no one will let him do this. He keeps getting pulled back towards old world struggles. But he keeps trying, and you can see him there meeting with the Japanese Prime Minister Shinzo Abe. This is China Daily's take on that meeting. So behind the very respectful meeting, you can see Shinzo Abe's shadow there poking fun at Obama. Bear in mind that China Daily has often been very critical of the Japanese Prime Minister, saying that he pretty much is doing whatever he wants, whether it's trying to change history or with regards to territorial disputes with China.
Well, speaking of Shinzo Abe, he upset some people this week by sending a religious offering to the Yasukuni War Shrine. Tell us more, Flo.
Well, that shrine continues to be in the spotlight, but for a different visit, and that is by the Canadian pop star Justin Bieber. He also visited the shrine this week and posted photos. You can see one of these photos here, other photos as well that you'll probably be able to see. You can read about it in the South China Morning Post. Now, the teenage pop star has apologized and deleted the photos, and he tweeted, "To anyone I have offended, I'm extremely sorry. I love you, China. I love you, Japan." But he definitely lost some believers in this by posting these photos.
OK, well, I'm not sure if we've got time for the last one, talking about a media social gaffe.
That's right. This is actually, well, some would say that this was a social gaffe from Justin Bieber. The NYPD in New York City also has come under fire for one of its, it's a failed Twitter campaign. It launched a Twitter campaign called #MyNYPD, and the idea was for Twitter users to share photos of them with friendly police officers, but it backfired, and a lot of people posted photos of what they say was police abuse. You can see a tweet here by Vice magazine talking about this, that this was a major fail, a failed hashtag by the NYPD.
All right, Flo, thanks very much for that update on the top stories coming in on the papers. Coming up after the break, 1 year after the Rana Plaza garment factory collapse, killing more than 1,100 workers, survivors are still struggling to rebuild their lives. Fazvan Cat reporters on the ground went to investigate, so do stay tuned.